Hey guys, Eddie Hates Anime here. So technically, we are good today, because depending on your definition of anime, if that is exclusively Japanese animations, then I am not a hater today. But if you're one of those people who considers all of animation to count as anime, then we're kinda cooked. Because Zootopia 2 is animated. I feel the urge to hate! But yeah, movie review today, let's get it. After 9 long years, we have finally received a sequel to the hit movie coming from Disney, Zootopia, keeping Byron Howard as a director, but this time replacing co-director Rich Moore with screenwriter Jared Bush, as Moore had previously left for Sony Animation and Creative Freedom in 2019. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, they kinda cooked in a plethora of ways. And I'm really excited to talk about it, and I want to keep it as short as possible, so I'm just going to jump right into the nitty-gritty right away. I love how we go straight from the first movie being this classic buddy cop thing to the second movie where it's those same two buddy cops trying to clear their name. It's just kind of ironic, you know, cop to fugitive. I guess it's still technically a buddy cop movie genre-wise, but at least Judy was a cop in the first movie. Technically, I would consider her and Nick to not be legally a part of the force while on the run in this one. But I guess it could be wrong. That's just me nitpicking at the genre name for no reason besides being annoying. It's not actually that serious. I'm not actually trying to make it a serious thing. I was just talking with irony. That aside, I'm really impressed with this movie's reason for being. Financial talks aside, if you look at this movie as a pair with the first, it stands not only as its own, but as a clear continuation, giving us lore, actual good world building. This has proved its existence worthy. First off, introducing us to the weather wall, not only being a neat explanation of how all these different species can live in one city, but it also leads us to a bunch of other things within the plot. Because while it is a good thing, the history behind it is rooted in corruption, which is where I lead into the part where I bring up the themes and politics involved. It's no surprise what they brought to the table here with that. Even the original dealt with themes of multiple levels of prejudice, internal biases, stereotyping, while this time around we see references to xenophobia, a system formed on a lie. Heck, you could even compare the snakes being driven out of Zootopia to the indigenous people of America or other ethnic displacements in our history. Colonialism is a thing. So while it does repeat similar motifs as the first, it's a bit less general and a lot more specifically focused, really singling in on the specific cracks in the armor that is the perfect dream of Zootopia, while the first merely introduces you to those cracks. I think it works out too because realistically, no messed up system recovers overnight. Things shouldn't be wrapped up in a pretty bow right after the first movie. It makes sense that there would be slow progression or even regression at times. Look at our real fucking world. I know I sound way too passionate and angry over a kid's movie, but there are dense fucking people out there who will tell you with a straight face that this somehow isn't political. You fucking idiots. Also, side note, I've seen things about it being repetitive, just repeating the first plot over. And while I see the point, I do disagree with it, but let's play with the part that I guess is partly true, because like I said, it does follow up on different levels of corruption, hate, all sorts of things. Let's say that, yes, okay, maybe it is repetitive on a surface level. What other angle can you really take? It wouldn't really be Zootopia if it was, let's say, a fucking cop movie with supervillains and no morally gray things, nothing to relate to the real world. It would be such a weird shift. Like, I don't mind stuff like that in franchises or movies or whatever, but not if it's directly following up a movie that has such deep connotations. Excuse me, gotta fix my shirt. I'm exaggerating a bit with that example, obviously. You could probably find something else to do this movie on, but I find it hard to believe that it wouldn't still be in that same ballpark of different sorts of isms. I was gonna say classism as an example, but even that's kind of explored here. So I don't know, oppression of sorts. It was never not gonna have that. So I don't know what people want, to be honest. Plus, like I said, it's not exactly a copy and paste movie. I actually think it's a clever shift to different forms of oppression with heavy propaganda, winners writing the history books, and systematic failures being used to paint a certain species as a certain way without even using the predator versus prey angle from the first film. Keeping things fresh. Alright, I talked about that way longer than I thought I would, but it's a topic worth talking about in my opinion, and I think it's unironically one of my favorite things about these movies. Like, okay, I get it. Kids movie, but kids have brains. Movies don't have to suck ass or have no subtext. They are allowed to make not only their targeted audience think, but also the parents and others who go with them. Or you're me, the only 22-year-old in the theaters by himself on opening night, surrounded by families. Fuck my life, man. Moving on to talk about, I guess, the surface level plot. Not necessarily its real world attributions, but the plot progression and how everything was paced. On paper, it felt fine. Or should I be saying in practice, it felt fine. No scene really overstayed its welcome, except for the one scene that calls itself out for overstaying its welcome. but it's romance and, like I said, self-aware, so I'm fine with it, I guess. The movie as a whole is like a minute longer or shorter than the original. I don't exactly remember, but close enough. And it flies by. Very healthily mapped out movie. So even from a kid's point of view, who probably can get some of the deeper things, but for the most part is still a very black and white thinker, not as nuanced yet, and is more looking at, animals and chase scenes and stuff, it's still a thoroughly engaging film at that level. Like I said, just me, and I know many others will be looking at the other level too. So I'm just happy that, like, on both levels of the surface and the underground, I don't know what metaphor we'd use here, it is good on both ends. Character-wise, Judy and Nick's dynamic is still great, taking a more romantic turn in this movie, sure, but even minusing that, their chemistry has always been off the charts, and not only in the first, but continuing here, they can and do learn a lot from each other. This film also features realistic arguments between them, in my opinion. They both expose flaws to each other. It just felt raw, real. I like how their dialogue and relationship as a whole was written here. Realist versus idealist. She wants to save the world, he just wants to save her. Pretty nice conflict of interest, because it always hits when they still care for each other but disagree, you know. I always like that sort of angle. And then, like I said, that romantic spice that was there also kind of levels that up a bit. So really well done. I'm glad Shakira returned. Love her. Cool addition, having an idol of sorts in this universe, and she supports the cause for what's right, so she actually helps too. Not just a random cameo, but a driving force. W overall, also great singer. Sloth, best character. Just gotta get that out the way. I still like Chief Bogo a lot. Whether that's because his voice actor or his actual character, I'll plead the fifth here, but he is my future husband. The newer main cast with the snake, the beaver, and the lynxes. The lynxes I already alluded to while talking about the fact that this movie has great oppressing forces, just scummy fucks basically, especially after the twist. I know that I'm dumbing it down a bit, but I want to keep this video short because it's already late and I still got to edit it. So let's just move on to more characters. The beaver being your classic conspiracy podcast nut. But I don't know, as much as I thought that I hated her for each scene that I saw her, looking back, hindsight, I remember her fondly. So like, what the fuck? She's kind of been rent-free in my head, not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. And of course, the main snake character, Gary, was just really sweet. And I just wanted everything to work out for him. What a goat. Also, a Disney snake that is in a protagonist role instead of being on the antagonistic side. Kind of interesting when you think about it. That is not a normal thing. This might be the first. Which actually, unironically, works extremely well for this film because it is a universe where judging a book by its cover can and has been a problem. So, it actually works on the audience's expectations a little bit. So kind of a cool picture painted there with that context, I think. Adding on to the characters and shit and the dialogue thing from earlier, the humor was also pretty fucking funny sometimes. The one joke I remember in specific, I don't even remember what the delivery was, but I remember the words traumatic adulthood. I remember it was Chief Bogo saying, like, one of the people was like, I got a traumatic childhood, and he's like, do you want a traumatic adulthood? I don't remember what the joke was, though, but I remember laughing out loud to that. I just don't remember exactly what it was. Was it Nick who said it? I think it might have been Nick who said it, because he was on his goofy shit at the start of the movie, wearing, like, the glasses and stuff. I don't remember, but there was a couple really good jokes. The banter in general was always good, yet they still know when to lock in and write those moments where misunderstandings might be happening, arguments, you feel the weight. For some reason, I care when the little carrot-shaped recording device was broken. Like, you gotta give it to them. And they somehow got away with 2 twist villains. That in hindsight, I don't know how I didn't catch either of those. Obviously, the assistant mayor in the first movie, and then, well, if you haven't seen the movie, I won't say who in this movie, but if you've seen it, you know. Then in hindsight, I don't know how I didn't catch either of them before. I feel like I would have caught them like 9 out of 10 times in any other movie. But for some reason, I didn't catch them in either of these. And I was like, actually like, oh my god, they're fucking bad, what the fuck? Especially this time, because the president was set from the first one for this to be a possibility. I'm just surprised I didn't catch it this time. But whatever. All that matters is that they did it. I won't say we fell for it. I fell for it. And I'm sure a ton of 10-year-olds fell for it too. I don't know if that makes me feel better or worse, but whatever. And yeah, it was done well. So moving on. This movie actually had quite a few neat references. The Silence of the Lamb being the probably the most talked about, I feel. And I saw that originally that reference was supposed to be a 4-minute uninterrupted recreation. I want the Silence of the Lamb cut. It's kind of crazy what references they can get away with. I'm pretty sure the first movie had a Breaking Bad reference, if I remember correctly. And Godfather with the absolute GOAT, which is the mob boss character. And this one also has a Shining reference. What I like is that they used it to move the plot forward and not just for reference sake. That was really smart in my opinion. Because once again, talking about what I talked about earlier, audience expectations, you see a reference, you're used to like, ooh, reference, and then that exact things they happen. No, they kind of subverted it. So pretty smart. Moving on to the next topic. Financially, a win. 12th highest grossing movie of all time and might go to 11 soon at the time of recording this. So maybe the next sequel would not take 9 years. And they already pseudo confirmed a sequel. I mean, it's teased quite heavily at the end of the film, and money fucking talks. This is Disney we're talking about. If releasing a video of me singing Shakira would make the money, they'd fucking do it. I'm just gonna give you guys a hot take. I think the third movie might explore themes of different species and their conflicts. What a crazy guess, am I right? Who knows? But until then, my next journey in Zootopia, I realized while on Disney Plus that Zootopia Plus was a thing, and it's not long. I haven't seen it. Would you guys want a review on that? Because I'm going to watch it regardless, so why not get content from it? Am I right? So let me know in the comments if you want to see that, because I don't know. I'm sure it's not like super crazy in the grand scheme of things, but it's fun to review some chill stuff every now and then as well, and just watch chill stuff in general. Then yeah, I don't have too much else to add. I kind of wanted to talk about more at first, but I'm already like 2 months late to this fucking video, so my bad. And yeah, there's probably a million other better videos on the subject, so I'm mainly posting this to have my is this movie good or bad on the record. And with that said, I would recommend both movies. Disney movies in general, already pretty easy recommendations. They literally mass produce family movies. And even if they're not in their prime right now, most movies, like the general audience does not give a fuck. They'll eat that shit up. I know a lot of people online didn't like Wish, but I also know a fuck ton of people IRL that love that fucking movie. So like most Disney movies, like 9 out of 10 times, you're probably fine recommending them to the average Joe, the average family, I should say, or like the average, I don't know, the demographics that they go for, they hit pretty easily, is my point. But these movies do have quality and interesting talking points. So that's something, am I right? But what did you think about Zootopia 2? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you only in it for the Rule 34 that could come out of it? Let me know in the comments. Have a great day. Subscribe. And peace out. Bye.